I stood in my own driveway staring at the locks that had been changed on my front door, while my daughter told me through the Ring doorbell camera that I could visit on Sundays if I called ahead first. 4 months. 4 months I'd been living in a hotel, paying out of my own retirement savings, while she renovated my home as a surprise gift. Except there was no gift. There was only theft. My name is Linda, and I'm 72 years old. I've lived in that house for 43 years. I raised my children there. I buried my husband from that living room, and my daughter almost took it all from me. Almost. Before I tell you how this nightmare unfolded, I want to know, where are you watching from today? Drop your city and state in the comments. It helps me know I'm not alone in this, and honestly, after what I've been through, community matters more than ever. This story starts 6 months ago on what seemed like an ordinary Tuesday morning. I was having coffee on my back porch when Stephanie pulled into my driveway in her Range Rover. My daughter has always been successful. She's a real estate agent, married to Brad, who works in finance. They live in one of those new developments with the granite countertops and the open floor plans. I was proud of her. I trusted her completely. That was my first mistake. "Mom," she called out, practically bouncing up my porch steps. "I have the most amazing idea, and I don't want you to say no before you hear me out." I smiled, curious. Stephanie had that infectious energy that could light up a room. "What is it, sweetheart?" She sat down across from me, grabbing my hands. "Brad and I want to renovate your house. Completely. New kitchen, new bathrooms, refinished floors, everything. Our gift to you. You've been talking about updating this place for years, and you deserve it after everything you've done for our family." I was stunned. Renovations like that would cost tens of thousands of dollars. "Stephanie, I can't let you—" "Mom, we want to. We've already talked to contractors, but here's the thing. You can't be here during construction. It's going to be a mess, and with all the dust and noise, it wouldn't be safe for you." She squeezed my hands. "What if you stayed somewhere nice for a few weeks? We'll cover everything. Just let us do this for you." My heart swelled. After my husband Tom passed 3 years ago, I'd felt so alone in this big house. The kitchen cabinets were original from 1981. The master bathroom had that awful pink tile. The thought of having a beautiful, updated home where I could host my book club and have my grandchildren visit in comfort, it felt like a dream. "How long would I need to be gone?" I asked. 4 weeks, maybe 6 at the most. We'll put you up somewhere comfortable. You won't have to worry about anything." I should have worried about everything. The next week moved quickly. Stephanie had spreadsheets, Pinterest boards, and contractor quotes. She showed me gorgeous kitchen designs with white cabinets and marble countertops. She pulled up bathroom renovations that looked like something from a magazine. Everything seemed legitimate, professional, and generous. "I found you a lovely extended stay hotel," she said, showing me pictures on her phone. "It has a kitchenette, and it's only 20 minutes from here. You can come check on the progress whenever you want." "Whenever I want?" I repeated. "Well, during the day when the contractors are working. You know how construction sites are, insurance liability and all that. But yes, you'll be able to see everything as it happens." That should have been red flag number 1. But I was so touched by her generosity, so excited about the renovation, that I ignored the small voice in my head asking why I couldn't just stay with her and Brad during the construction. When I brought it up, she had an answer ready. "Mom, we're having our basement finished right now. The whole house is chaos. You'd be miserable. The hotel will be so much more comfortable." It made sense. Everything she said made sense. Then came the paperwork. Stephanie arrived one evening with a folder full of documents. "Just some formalities," she said, spreading them across my kitchen table. "Insurance stuff for the contractors, permission forms, that sort of thing." I started reading through the first few pages: contractor agreements, liability waivers, materials lists. Then I reached a document that made me pause. "What's this quitclaim deed?" I asked. Stephanie barely looked up from her phone. "Oh, that's just temporary. It protects us legally while we're investing in the renovations. If something happened to you during construction, God forbid, it ensures the work can continue and be completed. Then we transfer it back to you when everything's done. It's standard for major renovations when family is involved. I set down my pen. I need to think about this. Her smile tightened just slightly. Mom, the contractors start Monday. We've put down deposits. If you don't trust me to do this for you, just say so. It's not about trust. Then what is it about? I'm trying to do something nice for you, and you're acting like I'm trying to steal from you. Her eyes welled up with tears. After everything I've done, you think I would hurt you? The guilt hit me like a wave. Here was my daughter offering to spend her own money to give me something beautiful, and I was questioning her motives. What kind of mother does that? I'm sorry, I said quietly. You're right. I'm just being paranoid. You don't have to sign it, she said, gathering the papers. We can cancel the whole thing. No, I want you to do this. It's a big change. She softened. I know it is, and that's exactly why I don't want you to sign anything you're uncomfortable with. Let's just move forward with getting you settled into the hotel, and we can figure out the deed later, okay? I agreed. I didn't sign the quitclaim deed that night, but she didn't stop asking. The hotel was nice enough, a clean room with a small kitchenette, a comfortable bed, and a view of the parking lot. Stephanie had paid for the first month up front, and I settled in with my suitcase of clothes and a box of books. I'll keep you updated every step of the way, she promised as she helped me unpack. This is going to be amazing, Mom. You'll see. For the first week, she sent photos. Cabinets being removed, old flooring torn up, walls being prepped for paint. Everything looked legitimate. I drove by the house twice, and sure enough, there was a construction dumpster in the driveway and a contractor's truck parked outside. Then the photos stopped. Stephanie, honey, can you send me some updates? I texted after 5 days of silence. Super busy, Mom. Everything's on schedule, promise. I decided to drive by unannounced. When I pulled up to my house, the dumpster was still there, but something felt off. The contractor's truck was gone. I walked up to the front door and tried my key. It didn't work. My heart started pounding. I tried again. Nothing. The locks had been changed. I called Stephanie immediately. Honey, my key doesn't work. Did the contractors change the locks? Oh, yes, for security. With construction crews coming and going, we didn't want anyone unauthorized getting in. I'll get you a new key this week. Can I come see the progress today? Actually, they're doing some chemical treatments today, refinishing the floors. Not safe to be inside. Let's plan for next week, okay? Next week came and went. No key, no visit, just excuses. The permits got delayed. They found some electrical issues that need to be addressed first. The tile we ordered is back ordered. By week 6, I was paying for my own hotel room. Stephanie said there was a cash flow issue with the contractors and promised to reimburse me. The renovation that was supposed to take 4 to 6 weeks was now projected at 3 months. I started to panic. My savings were draining. I was living out of a suitcase, and I hadn't seen the inside of my own home in over a month. Stephanie, I need to come by the house, I said firmly during one phone call. Mom, I told you, it's not safe. Trust me. I don't care if it's safe. It's my house. I want to see what's happening. There was a long pause. Fine. Come by Saturday at 2. I'll meet you there. Saturday at 2, I pulled into my driveway early, determined to see my home. But when I got there at 1:30, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Through my living room window, my window with my curtains that I'd hung 20 years ago, I saw Stephanie and Brad. They weren't reviewing renovation plans. They were sitting on my couch, watching my television, in what looked like a fully furnished, completely lived-in home. My kitchen, visible through the side window, had new cabinets all right, and they were full of someone else's dishes. They had moved into my house. I sat in my car, hands shaking on the steering wheel, trying to process what I was seeing. My daughter and son-in-law were living in my home, not renovating it, living in it. The front door opened and Stephanie walked out, coffee mug in hand, completely casual. When she saw my car, her expression shifted from relaxed to annoyed in an instant. She walked over to my driver's side window. I rolled it down. "You're early," she said. "You're living in my house," I replied, my voice barely steady. "Mom, calm down. Let me explain." "Explain? Explain what? That you lied to me? That you've moved into my home while I'm paying $60 a night to sleep in a hotel?" Brad appeared in the doorway, phone in hand, watching us. Stephanie sighed like I was being unreasonable. "We needed a place to stay temporarily. Our basement renovation has been a disaster. We've got water damage, mold issues. We couldn't live there. I knew you weren't using this house, and it seemed silly for it to sit empty while we were in crisis." "Not using it? It's my house. I was only supposed to be gone for 6 weeks, and the renovation hit complications. I told you that. Mom, you're acting like we committed some crime. We're family. We're taking care of your property." "Taking care of it? You changed the locks. You moved in your furniture. You're living here without my permission." Her eyes narrowed. "Actually, I've been paying the utilities. I've been maintaining the property. And since you haven't signed the quitclaim deed, I've been fronting all the renovation costs out of pocket. Costs that keep going up, by the way." There it was, the quitclaim deed again. "If you sign the deed," she continued, her voice softer now, "we can formalize this arrangement. You can move into our guest house. It's lovely, really, and we'll take over the mortgage payments and maintenance here. It's too much house for you anyway, Mom. You've said so yourself." "I said it needed updates. I never said I wanted to give it away." "It's not giving it away. It's family helping family. But if you're going to be difficult about this, maybe we need to have a different conversation." She glanced back at Brad, who was still watching from the doorway. "We've invested over $40,000 into this property. Floors, kitchen, bathrooms, all upgraded. If you want us to move out, you'll need to reimburse us for the improvements." My mouth fell open. "You did this without my permission." "You gave me permission when you moved out and handed over access to your house. Check your texts, Mom. You said, 'Do whatever you think is best.' I have it in writing." She did have it in writing. I had said that. But I'd meant design choices, cabinet colors, not taking over my entire property. "I want to see inside," I said. "No, not until we sort this out legally. Brad's already spoken to our attorney about our options. You can either work with us or this gets complicated." She stepped back from my car. "I'll call you next week. In the meantime, think about what's really best for everyone." She walked back inside my house and closed the door. Closed my door in my face. I drove back to the hotel in a daze. My hands were shaking so badly I had to pull over twice. When I finally made it to my room, I collapsed on the bed and tried to think clearly. My daughter had stolen my house. Not with a gun or a break-in, but with paperwork and manipulation and my own trust in her. And now she was threatening me with legal action if I didn't cooperate. I pulled out my phone and read through every text message from the past 3 months. She was right. I had said, "Do whatever you think is best," when she asked about countertop colors. But I'd also said, "I can't wait to come home, and this is so generous of you, and I trust your judgment on the renovations." Nowhere had I said, "Please move into my house and claim it as your own." But would a court see it that way? I needed help, real help. I called my son, Michael, who lives in Colorado. I hadn't told him much about the renovation because he and Stephanie had been feuding for years over family issues. But I was desperate. "Mom," he answered on the second ring. "What's wrong? You sound upset." I told him everything. The renovation promise, the hotel, the changed locks, discovering them living in my house, the quitclaim deed she kept pushing, the threats about reimbursement. The silence on the other end lasted so long I thought the call had dropped. "Michael?" "Mom." His voice was tight. "She's trying to steal your house. You understand that, right? This isn't a miscommunication. This is theft." "But she's your sister." "She's a con artist who happens to share our DNA. Remember when Dad died and she convinced you to make her the executor of his estate? Remember how much money went missing during that process?" I had forgotten. Or maybe I'd chosen to forget. There had been discrepancies. About $15,000 that Stephanie claimed went to funeral expenses and estate fees, though I never saw detailed receipts. Michael had pushed for an audit, but I'd shut it down because I didn't want to believe my own daughter would steal from her dead father's estate. "Oh, God," I whispered. "Listen to me very carefully," Michael said. "Do not sign anything. Don't sign a quitclaim deed. Don't sign a rental agreement. Don't even sign for a package. And get a lawyer. Today. Right now." "I don't know any lawyers." "I'll find you one. A good one. Someone who specializes in elder abuse and property disputes. Because that's what this is, Mom. It's elder abuse." The words hit me like ice water. Elder abuse. Me. I was the victim of elder abuse, and the perpetrator was my own daughter. "There's one more thing you need to do," Michael said, "and it's going to be hard. But you need to go to your bank and make sure Stephanie doesn't have access to any of your accounts." My stomach dropped. "She's on my checking account. She helped me set up online banking last year, and I added her as a joint owner in case of emergencies." "Get to the bank, now, before she clears you out." If you're feeling as shocked as I was in this moment, please hit that subscribe button. I promise you, this story gets even more unbelievable. I was at the bank when it opened Monday morning. The moment I checked my account balance, I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. $43,000. Gone. My retirement savings account, which had held over $68,000 3 months ago, now showed a balance of $25,000. My checking account, which should have had about $12,000, had $307. "I need to speak to a manager," I told the teller, my voice shaking. "Right now." In a small office with generic landscape paintings, a bank manager named Patricia pulled up my account history while I tried not to vomit. "Here," she said, turning the screen toward me. "These are the withdrawals from the past 90 days. Transfer after transfer. 5,000 here, 8,000 there. 3,000, 7,000, all authorized by the joint account holder, Stephanie Chen." "Wait, Chen? Chen?" I said. "My daughter's married name is Morrison. Brad Morrison." Patricia zoomed in on the account details. "The joint holder is listed as Stephanie Chen, added to your account 14 months ago." My mind reeled. Stephanie had divorced her first husband, David Chen, 6 years ago. Why would her maiden name, Morrison, not be... Then it hit me. When she helped me set up online banking, she must have used her old married name, a name that wouldn't immediately connect to her in case anyone looked into the transfers. She'd planned this. Maybe not 14 months ago, but she'd set up the pieces long before the renovation scheme began. "I need her removed from my accounts immediately," I said. "And I want to know if I can get any of this money back." Patricia's face was sympathetic but professional. "We can remove her access right now. As for recovering the funds, that's more complicated. She was an authorized user on the account, so technically, these weren't fraudulent transactions from the bank's perspective. You'd need to pursue this through legal channels, police report, civil suit, that sort of thing." I filed a police report that afternoon. The officer who took my statement was kind but not encouraging. "In family disputes like this, it's really hard to prove theft when the person had legal access to the accounts," he explained. "Your best bet is a civil attorney who can help you go after her for the money and for your property." Michael's lawyer recommendation came through that evening. Her name was Patricia Vega, and she specialized in elder financial abuse. Her consultation fee was $300. Money I barely had left, but I paid it. "Tell me everything," she said when we met the next morning. "Start from the beginning." I told her about the renovation promise, the hotel, the changed locks, finding them living in my house, the missing money, the quitclaim deed demands. She took notes, asked questions, and when I finished, she sat back in her chair. "Here's the good news," she said. "You still own that house. Your name is on the deed. They're trespassing, and we can force them out. The bad news? It's going to take time, and your daughter is going to fight dirty." "How long?" "If we move fast, 30 to 60 days. Maybe less if we can get an emergency hearing." 60 days felt like a lifetime, but I didn't have a choice. Attorney Vega filed an unlawful detainer lawsuit the next morning. That's the legal term for forcing someone out of a property they're occupying without permission. She also filed for a temporary restraining order to prevent Stephanie from taking or selling anything else of mine. She's going to get served with these papers probably today or tomorrow, Vega explained, and she's going to be angry. Don't answer her calls. Don't respond to texts. Any communication goes through me now. Understood? I agreed, but I underestimated how vicious Stephanie would become. The calls started within 3 hours of her being served. 17 calls in one afternoon. I didn't answer any of them. Then came the texts. How could you do this to me? After everything I've done for you, you're going to destroy our family over a misunderstanding? Brad and I are devastated. The kids are crying. That last one broke my heart. My grandchildren, Emma and Jackson, were 7 and 9 years old. They had nothing to do with this. But Stephanie knew exactly what would hurt me most. Then the messages turned darker. You're making a huge mistake. My lawyer says you're going to lose and owe me money. You're a bitter old woman who can't stand seeing her daughter happy. Dad would be ashamed of you. That one made me throw my phone across the hotel room. By day 3, Stephanie changed tactics. She started calling family members and friends, spinning a version of events where I was the villain. According to her story, she and Brad had sacrificed everything to care for me, paying for my hotel, funding renovations, managing my finances because I was becoming confused and forgetful. Now I was repaying their kindness by suing them and trying to make them homeless. My cousin Janet called me in tears. Linda, please tell me this isn't true. Stephanie says you're not well, that you're confused. She's so worried about you. Janet, I'm not confused. She moved into my house without permission and took $40,000 from my bank account. She says she borrowed that money with your permission for the renovations and was going to pay it back. Linda, maybe you just forgot? That's when I realized how good Stephanie was at this. She wasn't just stealing my house and money. She was stealing my credibility. She was painting me as a senile old woman who couldn't remember her own decisions. I'm not confused, I repeated firmly, and I'm not dropping this lawsuit. My book club was next. 3 of the 5 women stopped answering my calls. The other 2 were supportive but cautious, clearly unsure what to believe. My church friends started giving me strange looks on Sunday. Stephanie had apparently told people I was suffering from early-stage dementia and had accused her of things she never did. I was being isolated, systematically, by my own daughter. This is textbook, Vega told me when I showed her the messages. Alienation, gaslighting, reputation destruction. She's trying to make you drop the lawsuit. Don't. We're getting a court date, and we're going to win this. But winning felt very far away when I was sitting alone in a hotel room with half my family convinced I was losing my mind, and my own grandchildren being told lies about their grandmother. The court hearing was scheduled for exactly 47 days after we filed. 47 days of living in that hotel. 47 days of spending money I didn't have. 47 days of my daughter living in my house, sleeping in my bedroom, eating at my kitchen table. Vega prepared me for what was coming. She's going to bring documentation, receipts for renovations, proof she paid utilities, text messages from you authorizing work. She'll paint herself as the devoted daughter who was helping her aging mother, and you as confused and ungrateful. We need to counter every single claim. I brought my own evidence, bank statements showing the unauthorized withdrawals, text messages proving I'd repeatedly asked to return home and been denied, emails from before the renovation where I'd talked about my plans for the house, my house, after updates were complete, photos of the property I'd taken months before this started, time-stamped and geotagged. Michael flew in from Colorado the day before the hearing. It was the first time I'd seen him in 8 months, and I broke down crying when he hugged me at the airport. "We're going to fix this, Mom," he said. "I promise you." The courtroom was smaller than I expected. Stephanie arrived with Brad and an attorney who looked like he cost more per hour than I spent on groceries in a month. She was wearing a cream-colored dress with a pearl necklace, the one I'd given her when she graduated college. The optics were deliberate. She looked like the perfect, concerned daughter. When our eyes met across the courtroom, she didn't look away. She stared at me with something I can only describe as cold calculation. This wasn't my daughter anymore. Maybe she never had been. The judge, a woman in her 60s named Judge Martinez, reviewed our case files before calling us to order. Stephanie's attorney went first. He painted a picture of a devoted daughter who'd invested her own money into her mother's home, who'd managed her mother's finances with permission, who'd moved into the property temporarily due to emergency circumstances with her own home, and who was now being accused of theft by a mother who was, frankly, showing signs of cognitive decline. Your Honor, we have documentation that Mrs. Ashford has been increasingly forgetful over the past year. She's repeated conversations, forgotten appointments, and has shown confusion about financial arrangements she herself agreed to. My client is heartbroken to be in this position, but she's being responsible by seeking legal clarity on a property where she's invested significant personal funds. Then it was Vega's turn. Your Honor, this isn't a case of family miscommunication. This is a case of financial exploitation and property theft targeting a vulnerable senior. Mrs. Ashford's name is the only name on the deed to this property. She never gave permission for her daughter to move in. She never authorized the withdrawal of $43,000 from her savings. And she certainly never agreed to sign over her home via quitclaim deed, despite repeated coercion to do so. Vega presented the bank records, the text messages, the timeline of events. She showed how Stephanie had changed the locks, denied access, and systematically isolated me from my property and my community. Judge Martinez listened to everything, her expression neutral. Then she asked the question that changed everything. Ms. Morrison, do you have the receipts for these alleged renovation costs? Stephanie's attorney stood confidently. Yes, Your Honor. We have comprehensive documentation of all renovation expenses totaling $42,000. He presented a thick folder of receipts. New cabinets, $8,000, flooring, $6,000, bathroom fixtures, $5,000. The list went on. Judge Martinez reviewed them carefully. Then she did something unexpected. She picked up one receipt and held it toward the light. This receipt from Premier Kitchen Design, she said slowly. It's dated March 15th for $8,000. She looked at Stephanie. Can you explain why this receipt has a different paper weight than the others? And why the printer font changes midway through the document number? The courtroom went silent. Stephanie's attorney cleared his throat. Your Honor, I'm not sure what you're implying. I'm implying this is a fabricated document. Judge Martinez set it down and picked up another. This one from Luxury Tile Company. The business license number listed here doesn't exist. I can tell because my brother owns a tile company, and I recognize the format. This is fake. Vega stood up, and I could see she was trying to contain her satisfaction. Your Honor, if I may, we'd like to request a forensic analysis of all submitted receipts. I don't think that will be necessary, Judge Martinez said coldly. Ms. Morrison, I'm going to ask you directly. Did you fabricate these receipts? Stephanie's face had gone pale. No, Your Honor. My contractors provided them. Which contractors? Names and contact information, please. Stephanie looked at her attorney. He looked at his papers. Neither of them spoke. You don't have them, do you? Judge Martinez said. Because the contractors don't exist. The receipts are fake. You created them to justify stealing $43,000 from your mother's bank account. Your Honor, this is speculation. Stephanie's attorney tried to interrupt. It's not speculation. It's fraud. And it's elder abuse. Judge Martinez turned to me and her expression softened slightly. Mrs. Ashford, I'm truly sorry you've been put through this by your own daughter. She turned back to Stephanie. Here's what's going to happen. You and your husband have 48 hours to vacate Mrs. Ashford's property. You will return all keys. You will not remove, damage, or sell anything that belongs to Mrs. Ashford. If you fail to comply, you will be arrested for criminal trespassing. Your Honor, we have nowhere to go. Stephanie started. You should have thought of that before you moved into someone else's home without permission. 48 hours. Judge Martinez looked at the bank statements. As for the stolen funds, I'm ordering full restitution of $43,000 to be paid within 90 days. If payment is not made, Mrs. Ashford is entitled to place liens on any property you own, garnish wages, and pursue criminal charges for theft and fraud. Stephanie's face crumbled. Mom, please. Don't, I said quietly. It was the first word I'd spoken directly to her since we'd entered the courtroom. Just don't. Judge Martinez signed the orders. We're adjourned. Mrs. Ashford, I hope you can return to your home and find some peace. You deserve it. 2 days later, I stood in my own driveway again. This time, the locks worked. This time, I opened the door and walked into my house. The house was exactly as I'd left it, except for the new kitchen cabinets and refinished floors. The only renovation Stephanie had actually completed before moving herself in. The rest had been lies. No new bathroom, no updated fixtures, just enough work done to make the story believable. My furniture was still there, though some pieces had been moved to the garage to make room for theirs. My photos were still on the walls. My books were still on the shelves, though pushed aside to accommodate Stephanie's decorative nonsense. Michael helped me move their belongings to the curb. Every box, every piece of furniture, every trace of them. We worked in silence, and I felt something lifting with every item we removed. The attorney fees had cost me another $8,000. The hotel had taken $11,000. I'd spent nearly $20,000 to reclaim my own home, but I had it back. Stephanie made one final attempt to reach me, leaving a voicemail 3 weeks after the court order. Her voice was different, smaller, almost broken. Mom, I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But I'm still your daughter. Brad left me after all this, took the kids and filed for custody because of the legal issues. I've lost everything. I don't know what I was thinking. I thought if I had your house, if I could prove to Brad we could live somewhere nice, he'd stop talking about divorce. It got out of control. I'm so sorry, please. I need you. I listened to the voicemail twice. Then I deleted it. Attorney Vega helped me get a restraining order. Stephanie isn't allowed within 500 feet of my property. She's making payments on the restitution, $300 a month, which means it'll take 12 years to pay back what she stole. I'll probably never see all of it. But that's not what matters anymore. What matters is that I'm sitting in my own living room in my own house drinking coffee from my own mug. What matters is that I trusted my instincts when something felt wrong, even when it meant going against my own daughter. What matters is that I didn't sign that quitclaim deed. Michael visits more often now. My book club meets here every Thursday again, the full group, once they realize the truth. My grandchildren send me cards sometimes, cautious little notes that Emma writes in careful handwriting. I write back, telling them I love them and that none of this was their fault. Maybe someday they'll understand what really happened. Maybe they won't. I've made peace with that uncertainty. People ask me if I regret taking Stephanie to court, if I regret destroying my relationship with my daughter. The answer is no. She destroyed it the day she chose to see me as a target instead of her mother. She destroyed it the day she decided my home was worth more to her than my trust. I'm 72 years old. I live in a house I almost lost because I loved someone who didn't love me back. Not the way a daughter should love a mother, anyway. But I'm still here. And this house, it's still mine.